All right, last chapter of 20-2. Exciting times, I know. All right, we're going to review factoring. We did a little bit of this back when we did radicals. I gave you that sheet, so you would have known a little bit, but we'll just go over a few more things. A few more things. So this says we're going to factor by taking out or removing a common factor, doing a difference of squares, and factoring trinomials by inspection. All right. So it says in the next lesson, we will factor trinomials by decomposition. I am not going to do that. I am not going to be doing decomposition. Okay. All right. Here we go. How do you do this? Do you remember how to do this? How come it turns into this? It says explain how this process works. Well, you could say the first terms in your brackets multiply together to get x squared. And then the last terms in your brackets multiply together to get 12. But a side note is that they will combine, because there's no number in front of the x squared, they will also combine to get a -8. And that's because there is no number in front of this x squared. Well, there's a 1, but nothing else. Okay, so when I do this, there's nothing common. So we're going to go with x and x, and we're going to look for factors of 30. So I have 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. Don't forget all those different factors of 30. And you will choose the ones, because they're the only numbers involved. We'll choose 3 and 10, actually. And they'll both be plus. And that way we'll get 13. And the signs will all be correct. 15 and 2 would give you a 13 if you subtracted, but then my signs wouldn't work. So just to be sure, I'm going to go ahead and multiply the first term times everything. And then the second term times everything. And you will get that all of my signs work. So this original answer is right here. Okay, that's your answer. This stuff I did down below is just the check. Okay, let's do the same question, same numbers, different signs. Here we go. So x and x, 30. Okay, go through my list again. 1 and 30 won't work. 2 and 15 maybe, or 3 and 10. So I don't know. Let's try 2 and 15 this time. If I choose 2 and 15, I need there to be a -13, which I have to owe 15 and have 2. Then you need to ask yourself, okay, that works for the -13 part. Does it give me a -30 when I multiply? So you'd have to go do this. Yeah, right there. Last thing, +2 times -15 is a -30. So we're all good. All right, one more question. Nothing common, so I'll go to 2 brackets. I need multiples of 30 that give me 11. Well, 5 and 6 would give me 11. So we'll say 5 and 6. Since this is negative, I need to owe the 5 and the 6. And then double check. When I multiply them out, I will indeed get a positive 30 there. All right. What if you don't have this middle term? What if we have this? Do you remember how that works? It's called the difference of 2 squares. Okay, 16 has to be a square, like this number here. C has to be a square, and 16 has to be a square. And in which case, you would have x minus 4 and x plus 4. Okay, so these are quite simple. If there's only 2 terms, the middle terms will disappear. I'll show you right now how that works. If I was to multiply these out, I would have x squared plus 7x, and then I would do the next term times everything, minus 7x minus 49. Notice this plus and this minus disappear, and you have x squared minus 49. That's what's left. That's called the difference of 2 squares. We make one a negative and one a positive so that the middle term cancels out. So if I do C, I'm going to get 5x and minus 1 and plus 1. Done deal. D, 10x minus 9 and 10x plus 9. Hopefully that's coming back to you. We've worked on that a little bit this semester already. Okay, what if you have a common factor? Well, if you have a common factor, before you start, I don't care if it is the difference of two terms. Don't start trying to make those perfect squares until you factor out the 2. And when you divide out the 2, now you have this number. All right, so always look for that to happen. Always take out a common factor first. All right, so when I try to factor this, write the following quadratic functions in factored form. I would have f of x equals, copy it down. I would pull out a 5 and leave myself with 1 bracket. In the first step, you have 1 bracket. You must show what's left when you remove the 5 by dividing it out. So now I have the difference of 2 squares, 2 things, both squares with a minus sign. Life is easy. All right, let's do the next question over here. First thing I notice, there's a common factor. So g of x, I'm going to take out the common factor, dividing it out, leaving what would need to be left so I could get back to the original. Always checking, do I have what I need to get back to the original statement? So far, so good. Now you would try to go again if you can. So copy, don't forget to copy down everything. An equation or a function must have an equal sign in it. Okay, now 15, 5 and 3 would work. Both positive. Double check it if you don't believe me. Oops, that's a plus. All right, here we go. Question 16, or C. When you do this, you need to go big or go home. Like, you can pull out a 4 out of both, but 16 comes out. So try taking out the biggest thing you can. It just saves yourself a lot of work. Oh, sorry. I said what to do and I didn't do it. We're going to take out a 16 here. And we'll have x squared minus 4. Copy and factor. Good. Over here, p of x. I'm actually going to take out a negative there because I don't like it in my stuff. So if I'm taking out a common factor, I must leave what's there. First step has 1 bracket, 1 set of brackets. So watch your signs here now. If I pull out a negative 3 out of that, I'm going to end up with a negative 2x. Remembering I need to check myself to get back to a positive 6. A negative times a negative is a positive. And then I would need another negative 3 there. Same reason, for a negative 3 to multiply negative 3 to be a positive 9. All right, keep going, factor. Copy down the negative 3. X and X, I'm going to go 3 and 1. I need to owe the 3 and have the 1 to owe 2 when I'm done. All right. In the next 2 sections, we review a process necessary for factoring quadratic expressions where a is not a 1. So when we put a number in front of there, okay? So what we're going to start with, though, is ripping out what I call ripping out the common factor, which I used to call ripping out the heart. So if you remember, I want you to watch this. 3x times k minus 2 times k. What do you see as common? Now, Falk might talk about the blue sky, but I'm going to talk about ripping out the k. I see a k that's common. K is being multiplied by 3x, so I need to show it being multiplied by 3x. But then, shouldn't have written that there, I also need to multiply the k by a negative 2. So I put that down. Now I have k multiplying 3x, cha-ching, and it's multiplying by the negative 2, cha-ching. Okay, life doesn't change just because we put different stuff there. Let me give you another example. What about 3 heart minus 5 heart? Just some examples for you to work on. What's common? Well, you say the heart. So I say rip out the heart and leave what is left. The heart must be multiplied by 3 and multiplied by the negative 5. There it is, multiplied by 3 and a negative 5. I don't care what you put there. I could say 3x blob minus 25 blob. I don't care what it is. Rip out the blob. Okay, so here we go. Do you see what's common? It's this stuff right here. Treat it like one thing. treat it like the heart. The heart is being multiplied by 3x and by a 2 negative. We rip out the heart and we multiply it by what it needs to be multiplied by. First was 3x and then a minus 2. Now the deal is, it's not really a heart. It's an x minus 9. You follow? By the way, if I was to multiply these all out, if I was to multiply this line out and this line out, I would get the same answer. Okay, we move over to B. What's common? It's 2x plus 1. It's multiplied by 5x and by 7. Rip out the heart. Put it in parentheses because all of it is being multiplied by 5x and 7. All right, do it again. Here's what's common. Rip it out. Leave it in parentheses. Write down what you need. This whole bracket must be multiplied by the 9x. Oh, what's it multiplied by over here? You got to write it down, plus 1. So if you don't see anything there, there is. There's a 1, and you can put the little 1 in front of it if you want to. All right. See what's common? Over here. 3 minus 2x. Take it out. Leave it in brackets. Leave the 8 plus x left over. Okay. So we use that little method of ripping out the heart or pulling out the big common factor. So in case we have 4 terms, okay, when you have 4 terms, we're going to do something we call doing it by grouping. So it's going to take you back a little ways. This time, you see that there's nothing that comes out of every single term. There are some common things, but not out of every term. So you don't pull out anything common. What you just say was, well, there's a couple common things here, and I see there's some common things here. So you could even put, yeah, never mind. So take this first 2 things and take out what's common. Leave yourself what's left. Mercy. What you must do here is we're still adding so far. Take out what's common again. You must put this plus sign in between because I have to have a plus 6x plus 24. Okay, now you see a common thing. This heart is common. Just like the question above it, rip it out and leave yourself what this must be multiplied by x, and this must be multiplied by plus 6. Okay? Okay, next question. Let's take out what's common. A 2 and an x. And when you take it out, you'll have x minus 4. Copy down the plus sign. You must put the plus sign down. Rip out what's common, which is a 3. Oh, I see a heart. Rip out the heart. Leave what is left. By the way, if I would start working that all out, I would get back the very first line. Make sure you can get back 2x squared minus 8x plus 3x minus 12. All right. I'll do a couple more. Okay, common. Rip out the common out of the first 2 things. Leave what you need there. I need the 1 to get it back. Put the plus sign down. Oh, well, what's common here? Nothing but a 1, so put a 1. If you don't, you'll miss it. Now you take out the 2a plus 1, rip out your heart. Don't rip out your heart, by the way. And you get 4a plus 1. Okay, that is exactly. Do you see the 8a squared coming back? There it is. There's your plus 2a. There's your minus 4a. And there's your minus 1. Everything I needed. It's kind of a cool process. All right, on the bottom. I don't know why I just erased, but I guess we'll do them all. Okay, what's common? 3 and an x. What's common? 2. Here we go. Watch this. Boom, that's a minus 3. Why? Because a negative times a negative is a positive. You have to get it back. So if you take out a negative, you got to change the sign in the bracket so you're good. This sign goes in between. Rip out your heart. Okay. Next question, similar. Take out what's common. Leave a 1 there. If you don't see anything common, take out a 1. So we're basically dividing out by a -1, which changes that sign. Look at that. Because when I put that -1 back in, I have to get a positive. Now I rip out what's common, multiply it by both things, and you're done. Good. Okay. Good luck on that.